Welcome back to Arsenal News TV, and today we're going to look at how Arsenal could line up versus AFC Wimbledon, and we're going to go straight into the formation and see which formation Mikel Arteta is going to use. Is he going to stick with the 4-2-3-1 formation, or is he going to make that change to the 3-4-3 formation, or make a change as he did in the game versus the likes of Burnley and go with a 4-3-3 formation? So this is a very interesting shout, but I think Mikel Arteta will go and stick with the 4-2-3-1 formation, and I think that is the formation he will go with, even though he went with a 4-3-3 formation versus Burnley, where we had CDM Thomas Partey and with two number 8s in the form of Smith Rowe and Martin Ødegaard. So in terms of the goalkeeper, who is Mikel Arteta going to go with? And in terms of Mikel Arteta, he's already stated it previously that in terms of the goalkeeper, he will have a cup goalkeeper and he will have a Premier League goalkeeper. And in that scenario, if Aaron Ramsdale is playing in the Premier League and continuing to impress, then the likes of Gunners' first choice goalkeeper before, in the form of Bernd Leno, will be the German that will be starting in this game, because now he has been pretty much demoted as a second choice keeper as Aaron Ramsdale continues to impress after having 3 clean sheets in his first 3 games at Arsenal, and that is very important in terms of confidence. And I think Leno needs to now up his game and look at who he has around him and start to show that he is capable of being the number 1 as well, and that is the competition that we all wanted as Arsenal fans, something that we saw under Leno and Emiliano Martinez, but now it's time for us to see that under Bernd Leno and the likes of Aaron Ramsdale, or maybe even the likes of Andrea Nana and Aaron Ramsdale if Leno does leave in the January transfer window as he enters his final year of his contract, and also do sell him in the end. So in terms of the right back, who is Mikel Arteta going to go with? Well, he has a variety of options such as the likes of Callum Chambers, new signing Takehiro Tomiyasu, and other players such as the likes of Cedric Soares. So in terms of who is Mikel Arteta going to go with, I think he will definitely rest the likes of Takehiro Tomiyasu for the North London derby, as definitely Mikel Arteta will go with his strongest 11. In terms of the right back, who will Mikel Arteta go with? I think he will go in the form of either Chambers or Cedric Soares, and I think he will go with the likes of Callum Chambers because he was seen as a starting right back. He was very good in terms of his ability to go up forward and come defend as well, and that is something that Mikel Arteta was impressed with last season, and he was the starting right back at all occasions. But with Takehiro Tomiyasu, Chambers is moved down the pecking order, with also Bellerin leaving the club and joining Real Betis on loan. It makes Chambers the number 1 right back after Takehiro Tomiyasu. In terms of the right centre back, who is Mikel Arteta going to go with? And I think he will go with the likes of Rob Holding in that position, even though there are other players such as Ben White, Callum Chambers, who can also fill in that right centre back role. And I think in that position we will probably see the likes of Rob Holding, as he is seen as the other man as capable of playing in that right centre back position. That is his position. That is somewhere he did thrive in under the likes of Mikel Arteta at certain moments in the FA Cup games. And when it comes to Rob Holding, we have a player that is very good, and this will be a very physical game in terms of the fact that AFC Wimbledon are a much lower league. Their games are much more physical, and Rob Holding is someone that can suit with these sorts of games, coming from Luton himself, coming from a team like that for £2 million. So when it comes to Rob Holding, he has a capability to show Mikel Arteta that he is the number 2 to at least Ben White, or even challenge to become the number 1 as well. So in terms of the left centre-back, who is Mikel Arteta going to go with? Well, we pretty much have 3 options in that left centre-back position. We got the likes of Pablo Mari, the likes of Gabriel Magalhaes, and finally, even Sead Kolasinac, who was played in that position in the game versus West Brom, and many thought it was his farewell match, but at the end he is still remaining at the football club as he wants to make sure that he gets a payout at Arsenal and enters the final year of his contract and make sure he gets as much money as possible. But in that left centre-back position, I think Mikel Arteta will go with Pablo Mari, and we shouldn't forget the likes of Takehiro Tomiyasu can once again play in any of these positions, in the right centre-back, left centre-back, even right back, and even left back as well. So we have a versatile player in Takehiro Tomiyasu, but for me, he is the right back of this football club. So in terms of who will be the left back, Mikel Arteta has a variety of options once again. He's got Kieran Tierney, Nuno Tavares, and even Takehiro Tomiyasu, and finally Sead Kolasinac, who was in that position previously under the likes of Wenger, Unai Emery, and even Arteta himself. But in terms of who Mikel Arteta will go with, I think we will rather see the likes of Nuno Tavares, given the fact that Tavares has the capability to really replicate what Kieran Tierney did. And hopefully with Kieran Tierney having some form of a knock or some form of a cramp in the game, hopefully his injury isn't worse, because we are used to having injury-prone players, and Arsenal's luck is always the worst in terms of injuries. But Nuno Tavares is a solid addition, and we will hopefully don't need to repeat the same mistake we made last time by having not a suitable left-back cover to Kieran Tierney. But Nuno Tavares will be a decent backup, and here are moments where I think he looks very good, but his decision-making at certain moments needs to improve as well. So in terms of the midfield, who is Mikel Arteta going to go with? I think we have a variety of options in the midfield, such as Sambi Lokonga, Thomas Partey, Mohamed Elneny, even the likes of other players such as Charlie Pacino, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, even Callum Chambers can operate in that midfield role. And when it comes to Granit Xhaka, he's the only player that can't make it, unfortunately, due to him being red carded and serving his final game of his suspension. So he will be available for the game versus Tottenham Hotspur. But when it comes to the other players such as the likes of Maitland-Niles, there will probably be a great opportunity for him to go in that right centre mid position, and I think that is what definitely Mikel Arteta is going to go with, and go with Maitland-Niles in that midfield row, playing alongside someone that is capable of guiding him as he wants to become the player in that midfield that Mikel Arteta wants. He made that decision as I've not even included him in terms of playing in that left centre back / right centre back / right back position, as we all know he's capable of playing in the right back role as well. But that wasn't something that included, as I stated, the full back roles. And it's going to be Maitland-Niles that plays in that position, but unfortunately I don't seem to find him in this setup because there is no Maitland-Niles. I think he has been forgotten in this website. And he is a player that probably will be playing in that midfield role. But in the time being, I'll put the likes of maybe to show that he is the midfielder. I'll go with the likes of Thomas Partey just in there, just to show that he is Ainsley Maitland-Niles. But as I mentioned, it's Ainsley Maitland-Niles in that right centre mid position. And in terms of who will partner Ainsley Maitland-Niles, I think it will be in the form of Albert Sambi Lokonga. There are other options such as Charlie Pacino, who is left-footed, other options such as the likes of even Callum Chambers, who can operate in there, and other youngsters such as Smith Rowe, who can come in and play deeper. We had Miguel Aziz, but he's went out on loan to Portsmouth. But in that left centre mid position, I think we're going to see Albert Sambi Lokonga, someone that was bought for that £20 million, but is heavily impressed in an Arsenal shirt, and he is showing that he is someone that is capable of being an important player, being the captain of Norway. Being the captain of Anderlecht. Then we got Ødegaard, players like that who can play in that number 8 role alongside maybe a CDM such as Lokonga. But I think Mikel Arteta is going to go with a little bit weaker squad. We're facing a weaker opposition and rest some players that definitely need it after some hard work put in the game versus Burnley, and it was a very physical game. So hopefully these players get their rest as they deserve. In terms of the number 10 role, who is Mikel Arteta going to go with? I think we have a variety of options such as the likes of Martin Ødegaard, Emil Smith Rowe. You can also see the likes of Charlie Pacino maybe playing in that number 10 role. Players such as even Nicola Pepe who can play there, Bukayo Saka who can play there, Alexandre Lacazette who's played in that number 10 role. But the number 10 position is something that Mikel Arteta wanted to bring in a player, and he did bring that player in the form of Martin Ødegaard, but he changed the system into having one CDM with having two central midfielders, something that Pep Guardiola does at Man City, something that Liverpool does, Klopp does at Liverpool, something that Chelsea also does at certain occasions. But I think this 4-2-3-1 formation is something that could be very useful. And in that number 10 role, I think Mikel Arteta will go with the likes of Smith Rowe. Because when it comes to Smith Rowe, we have a player that is capable of firing in that number 10 role. He's very good in terms of his graceful runs, and he is someone that definitely could be featuring in that number 10 role. So moving into the right winger, who is Mikel Arteta going to go with? We have a variety of players such as Nicola Pepe, players such as even Eddie Nketiah can operate in the right wing if he is given the opportunity. Players such as even Martinelli. Players such as Nicola Pepe, as mentioned before, Bukayo Saka. There's a variety of options in that right back row. Even someone could bring in a youngster. We could have brought in someone like a Reece Nelson, but he's now went out on loan to Feyenoord. So when it comes to that right back position, right winger position, I think Mikel Arteta is going to stick with Nicola Pepe, someone that's been under criticism under Mikel Arteta, and he's one of the more senior players, so he should show that he's capable of showing his capability as a more experienced player and showing that he can hopefully thrive in a game such as AFC Wimbledon, show that he's capable, he's at another level, and really start to show some performances this season. So in terms of who will be playing in that left winger role, we have a variety of options as we always do in the winger position, such as we used to have Willian, Nelson, these players, but some have left permanently, some have left on loan. But in that left winger role, we have Gabriel Martinelli, we have Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Smith Rowe can operate on the wing, even Odegaard can operate on the wing. We have players such as Pepe, you can operate on the either wing as well. But in terms of who Mikel Arteta is going to go with, I think we're going to go with Gabriel Martinelli. And in terms of Gabriel Martinelli, we have a player that is capable of showing that he's one of the best players in the world. In terms of being a youngster, he was part of the top 40 shortlist for the best youngsters. But hopefully they can replicate those performances in the games which are important, such as AFC Wimbledon, to get him some confidence, to get some goals and assists under his belt. So in terms of who will be the number 9, who will be leading the line, we have players such as Aubameyang, Martinelli, Eddie Nketiah, following Balogun, Nicola Pepe can also play up front. So we have a variety of options in that position as we always do in other positions. We have a little bit more squad depth, but it shows that Mikel Arteta was unable, alongside Edu, to sell important players that we really do not need. The fringe players, we got Kolasinac, those sorts of players, Nketiah, players such as the likes of El Neni, Xhaka. We weren't able to sell these players. And when it comes to Lacazette, he will be the starting striker in terms of Mikel Arteta, because he's seen as more of a replacement to the likes of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. There's only one striker role in Mikel Arteta's system, and that will be in the form of Alexander Lacazette. And his link-up play is something that is much appreciated by Mikel Arteta and the team as a whole, and his work rate is very much appreciated as well. So this is, I think, how Arsenal will line up versus Tottenham in terms of Mikel Arteta's perspective. So this is how Mikel Arteta would line up Arsenal versus AFC Wimbledon. But in terms of how I would line up Arsenal versus AFC Wimbledon, in terms of the goalkeeper, yes, I'll stick with Bernd Leno. In terms of right back, I'd rather see Cedric Soares, but he hasn't impressed, even though he did impress certain moments in the preseason friendlies. But overall, I think Mikel Arteta will go with Chambers, and I don't mind Chambers because he offers versatility in terms of attack and defence, and he's capable of filling in at other roles. In terms of Rob Holding, I do agree. Pablo Mari, agree, because them two are pretty much our B partnership, our second best partnership, because if you look at Ben White and Gabriel, one physical player, one calm and composed player. We got Pablo Mori's calm and composed, and Rob Holding is a physical player. We can merge those two players together. So Suarez at left back is something that I agree with. Maybe Lokonga, maybe we can go with Lokonga. But I wouldn't mind if you see a Charlie Patino or maybe even another youngster. But in terms of Maitland-Niles and Lokonga, I do not mind seeing that. But also I want to see that 4-3-3 formation where we have a player like Lokonga by himself in that number 6 role, because that's something that he's played with at Anderlecht. This will be an easy game in terms of quality, and Lokonga can definitely fill in that role. And maybe go with the 4-3-3 formation. I don't know what you guys think, leave it in the comments below. But I think we should go with Lokonga in the number 6 position, with Maitland-Niles as maybe a box-to-box midfielder, and having the likes of Smith Rowe playing as that number 10/number 8. He's much further up the pitch, something that we did replicate in the game versus Burnley. So hopefully we play a 4-3-3 formation, and I do like those sorts of formations rather than a 4-2-3-1 where we just have a fixed number 10. I want that rotation of play that confuse those AFC Wimbledon players, who I don't think is as tactically efficient in terms of managing what the plans are. So this is a decent lineup in terms of Martinelli at left winger. In terms of the right winger, there are a variety of players we could go with. I wouldn't even mind seeing Nketiah brought in or following Bellingham playing on the right wing, because they deserve some minutes, and I think we can make them play in that right wing role. And I think something that Mikel Arteta should consider rather than playing Nicola Pepe, because I think we're trying to show that he's part of the B team and the A team. Players do not like that. And you see all your other players, like such as Aubameyang, when you see him sitting on the bench and you're playing, it shows a sign that how's he playing in that position, why we're not playing, and that shows a sign that that I want to be sitting on the bench as well. When you see the top players sitting on the bench but you're playing, that suggests that you're part of the B team as well, but you want to be part of the A team, and that's something with Nicola Pepe's confidence is something that should be taken into consideration. But overall, I think Mikel Arteta will line up Arsenal. I think this is a decent lineup. Maitland-Niles and Lokonga midfield. Remember, that's Maitland-Niles, not Thomas Partey. We will see how this lineup plays versus AFC Wimbledon. They're a very physical side. We're a very good side in terms of having that mentality, having that positivity. But overall, I will be a bit nervous considering the quality of the players, but should be able to get a result versus AFC Wimbledon, because we do have some senior players in there that could make a difference. So hopefully we get that victory. And make sure you guys leave in the comments whose lineup do you like. Do you like my lineup, or do you like Mikel Arteta's lineup? And even put your lineup, how you think Arsenal should line up versus AFC Wimbledon. But other than that, guys, make sure you click one of the videos on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.